Welcome to On Texas Basketball today. We've got a very special guest, Texas head basketball coach Rodney Terry, entering his second full season, third time at the helm of the Longhorns. Went to the round of 32 last year, looking to come off of a 21-13 season, headed to a new conference this year, ranked in the preseason number 19 in the AP. I'm Bobby Burton. Rodney Terry joining us along with Gerry Hamilton. Coach, welcome to the show, and give us a little feel for what y'all are thinking about this week. You got Ohio State coming up in Las Vegas to start the season on Monday.
Yeah, Bobby, Gerry, thank you guys for having me. I'm freshly off the court right now, so I've been doing a lot of yelling today, so my voice is kind of shot right now, so I'm going to try to make through on it today a little bit, but your voice is not shot a lot if you're not having to yell a lot out there. But anyway, you know what? We're excited about our new journey this season here. We've had two really good close scrimmages to this point right now. Big 12 foes, I think, that have helped prepare us for a really good Ohio State team. Very well coached. Jake did a great job last year. Had his team playing as good as anybody at the end of the year. He had some returners from last year. Thornton in particular, that's a really good player, one of the better players in all of college basketball. So, he's added in some really good transfers as well. That'll be difference makers for him in that regards, but a great early test on the road on a neutral court site in Vegas. I think it's a great way to start the season. We'll find out a lot about ourselves early on here, where we stack up, offensively, defensively, transition defense, taking care of the basketball, rebounding. We'll learn a lot about ourselves come Monday night.
Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. First thing I had for you was, y'all start off with pretty much two teams that are projected to be in the NCAA tournament this year. So kind of talk about that in the college basketball from a standpoint of y'all have 9 new players. You mentioned they have a lot of new players. So how much scouting can you actually really do? How do you piece together these early season games that are marquee games and not games you're going to go out and win by 20 or 30 points?
You know what? Early on, we talked about we wanted to be challenged and tested early. And, we picked a great opponent, obviously, Big Ten opponent. We're in the SEC. Early on, to your point, in terms of we had 2 close scrimmages. They don't have access to the tape. We have a new team. They have a new team. They had some games too that we don't have access to. So we're both kind of going in blind a little bit. Trusting what you do in terms of the things that you're trying to get done offensively and defensively early on. Personnel is going to be really big. We may not have tape on them currently this year, but we have tape on their previous schools on what they do and things of that nature there in terms of personnel. You just have to kind of lean back. I'm sure they will likewise, maybe looking at the way we played last year, maybe the way they played last year, some tendencies and some things that they'll probably continue to do, much like we'll probably continue to do in the way you play. So, a lot of times you're just kind of filling each other out. So the first 20 minutes is going to be a lot of filling each other out. We know transition defense and every game can always be very big. So we're going to have to get back defensively and try to set our defense and sit down and try to guard.
Hey, Coach, you got Ohio State on Monday, and then you come home on Friday and host Houston Christian. For folks that are going to be in town for the football game against Florida next week, make sure you stop by and get your tickets for the Houston Christian game. We're using this a little bit as a basketball preview today, Coach, and want to talk about the team as a whole. You really reconstructed this team over the offseason. Give folks a feel for the top 8 or so players or 10 or however many deep you guys are going into this season and what you feel about those guys.
Yeah, Bobby, we got 16 players on our team. We've got 4 new freshmen, and we got 6 guys out of the portal. So basically 10 new guys on this year's roster. When you talk about the portal guys, I'll probably start with the Indiana State guys and Jason Kent. He's a very versatile forward. one of the elite cutters in all of college basketball. He can stretch the floor, he can rebound, and he's an older player. He's already graduated as a grad transfer. You talk about Junior Larry, who's a winner, point guard, facilitator, a guy too. I think will come in and give us some leadership as well. Be a really good defender. Will initiate, push the ball in transition, but he'll man down that point position for us. He and Pope, both Jordan Pope, is a guy that can play on the ball, off the ball. Transfer from Oregon State, really good scorer. Been one of our better shooters on our team this year. And then we got Arthur Kaluma coming in from K-State. He's played at Creighton for 2 years. He's a forward. We look for him to try to give us some rebounding. He can score the basketball as well. Another versatile forward that can play the 3-4, even some 5 if we play small. What am I leaving out there? Tremont Marks. I can't leave him out. Tremont's going to be one of our better players. To me, he's kind of an X factor for our team, because he's a guy that can go get a bucket at any time. He has great length on the perimeter at 6'5", and should be one of our better defenders. He's played a lot of basketball, played a lot of winning basketball. He's been coached at a very high level, so we look for him to be a major contributor for us. He's kind of been slowed a little bit by a couple of injuries that'll slow him up a little bit, and he's kind of day-to-day right now. So, he may not be available for Monday for us, so we'll have to see how that goes a little bit as well. And then Malik Presley, another transfer from San Marcos, a guy that we feel like we can bring along as a young player as well. So those are our transfer guys. When you talk about our freshmen, start with Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson, 6'6" guard. Dallas, Texas kid, played at Link Academy last year. You talk about a guy who's skilled, can shoot the basketball, should be a two-way player for us, offensively, defensively. Give us great length on the perimeter. Should be a guy that also over the course of the season becomes a really good decision maker with the ball as well. Jamie Vincent, big 6'10", 6'11" kid, who's going to be a developmental guy for us. Has a chance to be a good player. We're just going to bring him along. Has a lot of really good tendencies and things that he does well. He can shoot the basketball. He's learning how to run the floor, but you can't teach 6'11". He's going to have a chance to be a good player. I like Jamie a lot. Nick Cody, 6'9" freshman, slowed a little bit early on here. Had an injury that he suffered during the last season. Had to have surgery, so we bring him along. Has a really good upside. He's a guy that can face the basket. Has good ball skills as well. Feel like he's going to be a really good young player for us. And then Anthony McDermott is a freshman for us as well. 6'5" shooter. Really knows how to play. Really good IQ. Those are four freshmen. We've got 4 returning guys. We got Z back, the backup big for us last year, transferred from UTEP the previous year. Should give us some physicality. Guy can rebound, run the floor. Caden Cedric. I think you'll see a much different Caden Cedric this year. He's healthy. He's had a great summer, great fall. Should be able to give us really good rim protection. Should be a guy that can step out and make a 3. Should be a guy that runs the floor. Should give us some good leadership as well. Kendall Weaver coming back this season. Guy that does a little bit of everything. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife guy. Does everything. Makes winning plays. Has improved his shooting. Scored for us well in postseason play last year, so we're excited about him returning as a junior. Then we have Devon Pryor, who has an incredible ceiling, 6'7" wing. He's put on about 30 pounds. Still developing as a young player, but has a chance to be a really good one moving forward for us as well.
Hey, so Coach, I wanted to ask you because you guys pretty much have 8-9 starter level players on this team. So obviously, guys, one of the big things for you guys coaching is getting guys to buy into roles, right? Who's gonna play what roles? Where are y'all at in that process, and how long do you kind of see that process taking as your season starts and you start building this team towards conference play?
I want to leave out 2 other guys. Preston Clark does a great job for us every day. He's a great kid to have in our program. He's gotten better over the course of the time that he's been here. He gives us a great look every day. Cole Bott, who's one day going to own his own business, and
Yeah.
he's a brainiac. But a guy that does a great job competing every day for us as well. And those guys really help us every day, and we enjoy having those guys in our program. To your point, Jerry, in terms of getting guys to buy into their roles, we go on a retreat every year. We went on a retreat again this fall, and on the retreat we try to do a great job of connecting with our guys and having our guys really tell their stories when they get a chance to have a great feel for each other. But we also spend time really bringing some clarity to what we really need our guys to do in terms of their roles. I've never been one to play a big guessing game or head games with guys. I always, I like to let guys know and be very transparent with what we need you to do right now. You have a body of work. You've been here for 3 months. As a coaching staff, we've had a chance to really get a good feel for you and what you bring to the table right now. So we usually give guys 3 things that we want them to do. And we want them to do that every day in practice, every day in games. And it's really just, again, identifying what their role is. And we also ask them to give us 2 commitments, 2 things that we can expect from them every single day. So there's really no guesswork on what we need you to do and really what your role is. And everybody in the room knows what your role is and what we need you to do every day. Now, your role may start one way at the beginning of the year, Kendall Weaver. It could be totally different by the end of the year. And again, that's all predicated on the work you put in and you really buying into mastering those 3 things so we can expand your role with other things. By the end of last year, Kendall Weaver's role became, hey, man, that ball's been moved to the second side of the floor. Then now we need you to become a scorer. Get downhill. You're one of our stronger drivers. Look to try to get some contact, make a basket, get to the foul line, but become a scorer as well as a great defensive player, a guy that rebounds the ball for us and plays with a lot of energy and activity.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Trey Johnson because, look, there's been a lot of tremendous freshmen come through the Texas program. TJ Ford, KD, Corey Joseph. You recruited a lot of these guys, Tristan Thompson, right over the years. I've always said, look, they have the skill sets. It's why they're pro prospects, right? And they appear on mock drafts. But I always said that toughness, physicality, and fearlessness to go into an older team and kind of have a voice and not kind of wait for an opportunity to present itself to you, but you go jump in from a toughness, leadership even standpoint at times. Well, how much of that does Trey bring? Because, boy, he brought it in high school, but it's different when you come into the college level and 9 guys are 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, again, our staff did a great job for one in the portal, trying to identify guys that could complement the guys that we already had signed.
Yep.
And by doing so, I think that's really made the transition for Trey and some of our other younger players pretty good. It's been pretty seamless in terms of the leadership piece, how hard guys have to play, how hard you have to work at this level. Everybody at this level has been the best player on their high school team. Every player we have on our roster has been the best player on their high school team. Now it's what separates everyone else. Am I a guy that's going to come in and have an incredible work ethic? Am I going to be a guy that comes in and become a student of the game where I watch a lot of tape and I learn to understand, and have a great IQ in terms of understanding the game of basketball, making simple plays. But I think a lot of our older players have really helped Trey. Now, Trey, come from the same club like a Kevin Durant in terms of work ethic. He came in with an incredible work ethic. He'll live in the gym. He'll stay in the gym 24/7. I think the biggest thing a lot of times with young players is just being consistent with the energy and activity and the level that you have to bring in every single day. In high school, you can take a play off. You can play 2 or 3 plays off. You have to get to a point in college where you try to take no plays off in terms of how hard you play on both ends of the floor. And we're really challenging him to be a 2-way player. The best players in the world, they're 2-way players. They're not just guys that you can score the basketball. And he has an elite skill set to score the basketball at a high level. But we want him to be a great defensive player, too, and play with a lot of energy and activity on that end of the floor as well.
Hey, Rodney, I want to point out this, and just I think I know the answer, but for the Texas fans out there, Trey Johnson 6'6", Tremont Mark 6'5.5", Malik Presley 6'5", 6'6", Julian Larry 6'3". It was obviously concerted effort to get bigger at the guard spot, right, from last year to this year. How much does that change what y'all can do offensively and defensively already through the first few weeks of practice, what you guys are seeing?
Well, for one, we didn't get a chance to post any guards last year. That was
Right.
Ron Holland. We could have posted Ron Holland if he was at that 3 spot.
That's true.
But we didn't have anybody we could put in the post and drop a guy. We could do that with Timmy Allen. We could do that with Jabari Rice. But you have to be guys of size to be able to do that. I think when you have the length and athleticism that we have on the perimeter, allows you to be able to switch defensively as well, take shots away, take vision away. We should become, by the middle of the year, end of the year, a really good switching team. Take teams out of their actions in terms of what they want to be able to do. Get our hands on a lot of balls with just our length. And then we have some guys that can score over other guys in terms of mid-range. I mean, they can pull up into a shot and do it with size, kind of like Timmy Allen and Jabari used to do. So, length gives you a lot of leeway to do a lot of different things. From an offensive standpoint, defensive standpoint, you can ISO some guys a little bit too and put them in really good positions in certain positions on the floor to get things done.
Coach, you're going into the SEC, but you're leaving the Big 12. It's like out of the frying pan into the fire. You're one of 8 teams in the preseason in the SEC alone that are ranked among the top 25 in the country. What do you see the difference in style of play maybe in the Big 12 versus the SEC, or is it more of the same and just 2 really, really tough conferences?
You know what? I mean, obviously we left arguably the best basketball league the last 2 seasons. I think this season the SEC could be the best basketball conference in the country. I mean, we got 9 teams in the top 25 right now, and any number of us could compete for a national championship this year. I think, we left a physical, kind of grinded out league every night where you got to kind of, really execute at a high level offensively and then sit down and put some consecutive stops together. You got to do the same thing, I think, in the SEC. There are going to be nights we got to grind it out. There are going to be nights where we've got to be able to score the basketball as well. When you talk about Alabama, a team coming off a Final Four appearance last year that, one of the better scoring teams in all of college basketball, they're going to have that same firepower again this coming season. And they got length, they got athleticism, they got a really talented team, and they got a really good culture. So, I think, every night you got to bring your A game. You got great coaches, you got great players, you have great venues in this league. So, I think, again, we have a chance to have the best basketball, league in the country this year in the SEC.
Hey, RT, you've been a coach on a Final Four team, right? A head coach at Texas, went to the Elite 8. You've been on some really good teams. Another Elite 8 team. What are the characteristics outside just pure talent? What are the characteristics that make those teams what they are? And what's that process for you guys like trying to find that with a team each and every year? Maybe nowadays through the portal, not just high school recruiting, but through the portal.
Well, I think the thing that makes it challenging nowadays, as opposed to those previous years, and even the year we went to the Elite 8 a couple of years ago, it's really big when you have some continuity. Yep. When you're able to keep guys for 2 years. Back in those days, we have some guys for 3 years. And give or take 4 years as well. But when you're able to have some continuity, I think that really helps your case, because guys, again, they know your system, they know what you're trying to get done, and then when you bring in new guys, they're able to bring those new guys on board with what you're trying to do, both offensively and defensively. We have a whole new landscape in college athletics now, so you got to max out your team for 1 year. Sometimes you have a new team you put together for one season. We got 10 new players, so our team's going to evolve over the course of the season, and we'll be totally different, from November to December to January. But I think at the end of the day, the one common bond that you still have to have for those type of winning teams and teams that go deep in March, you have to have great chemistry. You have to have guys that really like each other, both on the court, off the court. I think you have to be a strongly connected team in terms of you have guys that are pulling for one another at a very high level. And teams, again, on any given night, you can have a different leading scorer, and guys will feel great about that. I think our team has that kind of makeup. On any given night, we can have one guy be a different leading scorer for us on our team. Our Elite Eight team was really hard to guard. On any given night, a different player can step up and be that guy. Those are the hardest guys to deal with and teams to deal with in college basketball. So, I think we have that type of ingredient for our team. We have a lot of depth on this team. We can play, 10, 11 guys on this team and really not kind of have a drop-off in terms of the level of play on both ends of the floor. But I think, when you talk about, having that type of team, that's what you have to have.
Hey, speaking of continuity, second year with the staff for you. Speak to that, Frank Haith, Coach McClain, all your guys back for a second year. Speak to that staff continuity and how that helps you, because obviously you went through the transition year last year with your new staff, but have the same guys returning for year two on that staff. Speak to how that helps you guys, helps you as a head coach, helps you guys this season.
Jerry, you're only going to be as good as the guys you have around you every day. And, at this level and at Texas, we got to have pros, and I think, every one of my guys on my staff, they're elite in terms of what they do, and they're pros. They wouldn't be at Texas or coaching at Texas if they didn't have the experience, okay, and they didn't have the know-all in terms of what we have to do at this level to be successful. You talk about Frank Haith, Frank's been an AP National Coach of the Year, he's taking teams to the NCAA tournament. Steve McClain, Sweet 16, national championship, at the junior college level. Again, guys that are recruited and signed lottery picks, and again, you just a wealth of experience in that regards. Chris Ogden has been a head coach. He's been a part of Final Four teams, Elite Eight teams. Brandon Chappelle, good young coach, okay, again, who is learning to work with these guys every single day and getting better every day. And, you go right down the line. Byron Jones has been with me, almost 10 years as a head coach. Nick Matson has been with me, almost 12 years of the years I've been a head coach. So experience, continuity, guys being on the same page, guys really, again, having the same voice, same message that you have in terms of, what you expect in your culture and the standards of your culture. I mean, you can't put a price tag on it. It's what you really have to be successful.
Coach, we really appreciate you taking the time for us today. It was very, very nice of you. Again, the Longhorns get started this season against Ohio State, November 4th. That's a Monday at 9 o'clock Central. It'll be on the TNT family of networks. And then they come back home and play a week from Friday against Houston Christian. So if you're in town for the football game, get over to Moody. If you have not been to a game at Moody, Coach, you guys have done a tremendous job making that a real home court advantage. It's so different than what the Drum used to be. I love the Drum and all the history, but Moody is a different animal, right, Coach? It's totally different. But that's happening. Then you guys go to Brooklyn, and you're going to play Syracuse up there this preseason. You got NC State in the SEC SEC ACC Challenge, and then you've even got UConn, two-time national champion, coming to the Moody in December as well. You guys have got a big schedule. Add on top of that the SEC group. But Coach Terry, thank you so much for your time, and good luck to you guys this year, man.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Bobby. Shout out to the Corral. They've done an incredible job, and our student body creating that energy in the Moody, and it truly has given us a home court. Obviously, our fan base, they do a tremendous job as well in terms of coming in and supporting us. Got great leadership in CDC and President Hustle on our campus. So, again, our fall sports have gotten out to a great start. Shout out to Sart, what he's doing with football right now. Shout out to Jared Elliott in volleyball, Ange in soccer, swimming and diving. I mean, we got a rocket on the 40 acres right now.
Hey, you know what else is great about the Moody Center? Look at Coach Terry's backdrop for this interview, man. That's a lot different than it used to be now.
You're right, Jerry. We got a great home. We got a great practice facility next door to the Moody, man. So, we're blessed, man. We really are, man. And again, we're just living the dream and again trying to make everyone proud in Longhorn Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. For Texas fans, y'all are going to enjoy watching this team. Big guards, really athletic group of guys. Can really shoot it, can go get their own shot. Hey, I don't want to put any pressure on RT. I do the math. This should be the best free throw shooting team I've seen at Texas if those guys just replicate what they've done in the past. So it's going to be a fun team to watch for Texas fans.
Coach, thank you so much. And thank you for the shout out to the corral. I'm a former UT student myself. I love those kind of guys and student support. For Gerry Hamilton and Texas head basketball coach Rodney Terry, this has been your episode of On Texas Basketball. Hook 'em, Coach.